Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly's, and I've come to look at a Volvo XC70, similar to this V70 or the S60. Open the bonnet and have a look at the engine. It's the D5 common rail diesel. And we've just taken that engine cover off there to have a look. You can see the engine there. So this car is in limp mode. It's lost power. When you start it up, it's got power intermittently, but after a few hundred yards it goes into limp mode, the power drops. Just come down under here, plug in the diagnostics. And the key here, it's with the ignition on. So we're getting the engine light up and everything else. Now we'll run a diagnostic scan on the car. Okay, so we've come into the engine control unit here, and it's come up at 6805 boost pressure control flow fault. So boost pressure control can be obviously the solenoid, or if there's a flow fault you could have a leak. So we'll have a look around the engine again. So when you start the car, it's got that message there in the corner. There is another one coming up sometimes saying engine service now or engine service required, but we'll have a look underneath the engine bay. Now you're looking around the boost hoses here, they've got some oil which would suggest it's got a leak. This one doesn't look like it's been even fitted properly, but we'll do a smoke test on it. I think we'll plug a smoke tester in. So we've got our smoke leak detector plugged in. That's our All-Tool SDT205 there. So we've got that switched on. Now we can see some smoke coming out. We're going to connect it up to the inlet here. Take that off the air filter box. We've got that connected. We'll leave it on for a few minutes, see if we can see any smoke leaks anywhere. I would suggest a boost leak. Okay, it's been running for a while. It's not been leaking. It's just pushing the back off here because it's building up too much pressure. So we can't seem to find any boost leak. There's a message there. It's not coming out very clear on the camera, but it says engine service required, and it's sort of in a limp mode. There's no power. I'll just give you a quick demonstration when I put my foot all the way down to 100%. That's 100% foot down acceleration. Doesn't really want to go anywhere. Some sort of boost leak or restriction by the looks of things. So the vehicle here is at a council service depot for the employees, so we're going to have to move it somewhere else, and we'll carry on with the video. Just over here on the passenger seat we've got some bits and pieces. Boost pressure solenoid, N75 valve, air mass meter, and someone said they've already changed these, so basically these are the old parts. That hasn't fixed it. He's had a couple of different people looking at it. They've changed the map sensor, they've cleaned the EGR valve, all that, etc. And there's no results. So we'll have a look at the one of these that's on here now, and we'll test that and make sure it's working. Just to make sure. What I'm going to do here now is run not a full scan, but an EOBD scan. It should give me a different P code for the similar fault, and maybe a different description. Okay, we're in. Taking a little bit of time. Okay, we got a P0244 turbocharger, Wastegate Actuator performance, and the other one was a airflow fault. Which again, actuator doesn't really have an electric actuator. This one has got a vacuum, so I'm not too sure why the range performance would be. We'll have to have a look at the vacuum system. So over here we've got the vacuum pipes, and they run down behind here into the vacuum solenoid. So we'll remove this pipe and get it tested. So with the pipe out of the way, just undone two T30 torque bolts, and now we can pull this out and we can test this now. So first I'm going to pull this pipe off, connect it up to our Mighty Vac, or Mitty Vac, whatever way it's pronounced. This one here. and we're going to see if it's holding pressure or if we've got leaks in the vacuum. Actually, it turns out this one is going back to the actuator rod on the turbo, so we're going to check this other one first. And I thought I was going crazy there, but yeah, we've got a split on our holes here, so we're going to have to fix this first. Okay, we'll build up some vacuum, and we can switch that from pressure or vacuum here on this little twister. So we've got that up to there, and it's not moving, so there's no vacuum leak. We're going to connect it up to this and have a look down the back, see if we can see the turbo rod moving on the actuator. Get that built up. Okay, so we've had to take off the cover here. We'll just put it back on. But yeah, the rod is moving on the actuator turbo, so the turbo is opening and closing. So we're just putting all of this back together. And because we can't see no issues here, we've obviously got a blockage somewhere, which could be the EGR valve, just down here, down the back end. Or this doesn't have a DPF, as it's a bit old for that. It doesn't have any sensors or anything, but the catalytic converter could still be blocked. So we're going to go underneath and have a look. Okay, here's where I'm at. I'm underneath the car, and we're going to have to get away into the catalytic converter here. And I don't fancy opening these bolts because there's not a lot of chance we're going to get them open, and if we do, it's going to be a lot of work in getting them back together. Looks like they're going to snap. So I've just drilled a hole in the exhaust there. Now what I can do is, when I'm finished, put a bolt in there, and we'll tap it in, and re-thread a bolt in there. Put our drill bits back. Now you may have seen this process in some of our other videos. We're going to fill this bottle with some DPF cleaner. Even though it's not a DPF, it's got just a catalytic converter, but that can also get blocked, so we're going to try flushing it with this, and hopefully we can see some improvements, because it seems like there's a build-up of too much boost pressure, so it's not getting out somewhere. Hopefully it's the exhaust. There is no sensors or DPF pressure sensors on this exhaust system, so we just have to go on the old-fashioned way of taking everything apart and trying it, or this way we're just going to put this through that drill hole we've made and try and flush it out. Okay, we've got this tube inserted into our hole here, and now we're going to pump it and fill it up. I just pump this bottle up, and we'll flush all that fluid in there into the catalytic converter there. And that's it, we're just pumping a bit of bubbles now, so we're just about done. Now we'll get this bolt in here, get that tightened up. Okay, now we're going to start the car up, and we'll run it for a few minutes. We're going to push all of the whatever's in there out the exhaust system. And yeah, it's a nice note to mention is this guy's found me on YouTube, so he's obviously liked what I'm doing, and he's asked me to come and look at his car. So hopefully I can not disappoint today. Okay, we're going to start it up. And we'll give it a few revs. And would you look at that? Look what we've pushed out there just in those couple of revs. So we're gonna give it some more revs for 5 or 10 minutes, push the rest of that out. And at the start of the video, if I'm sure I recorded that, but if not, at the start of the video, once we revved it up and let go, there was a like a turbo sputter, sort of like a dump valve you'd get on a petrol, but it's not doing that now. So there's something has changed. It's not making the turbo flutter dump valve noise. And we can take it for a test drive. Okay, we've been test driving it, and you can see So now on a test drive, the service engine message is gone, and we're getting the revs go past 3000 now, and if we put our foot down you can see the acceleration is picking right up. So that's all a good result on that Volvo there. There seemed to be a lot of back pressure building up on the turbo, which was causing a bit of noise, and obviously the restriction is the turbo boost didn't have anywhere to go from the blockage. So yeah, that was a good result. It's just a little bit difficult to pinpoint if there was a blockage, because there is no DPF pressure sensors or anything like that on the exhaust on that system. There's no access points, which is why we had to drill a hole. Otherwise we'd have had to remove the complete exhaust up right to the turbo, and it's down the back of the engine, so it would have involved a lot of hours of labour. That was the quickest, simplest way just to try that, and it was a good result because it worked. So I'll see you on the next video.